people gather. This is fun. We're thinking about the traditions that we're continuing this year and a couple traditions that we're going to get back to next year, but it's exciting. Thank you for sailors of all ages with the BYC to join us. We'll just start in another minute or so. And the idea is we're keeping everybody on video. Laura, if you can come back. Mary, if you'd like to, but maybe you wouldn't. Nothing required, but we just want to see faces for the beginning, and then we're going to start the show.
So we got out of sync because we were playing with boats today, and now we're about to start eating dinner, and we thought that would be rude.
Got it. Perfect. Thank you. Always thoughtful. All right, we've had some new folks come in. Johanna, hi. Hello, Tugas family. Wiley Wakeman, amazing sailor. All the amazing sailors are coming in now. Hey, Ellie. All right, this is fun. Commodore is here. A little late to the line, Commodore, but probably starting in the right place, so that's good. All right. So you know what? It's 7:02. By God, if you're not there by 7:02, we got to get going. So let's light this candle. So, good evening, BYC. My name is Dan Cooney, and I'm better known as Henry and Owen's dad. And I want to welcome you to this call. This is really exciting for us. Tonight, you're in for a treat. And guess what? You all deserve a treat because it's not been the easiest summer. It's not been the easiest summer for the staff. So, General Manager Shorter, thank you and all of your staff for doing such an incredible job. The best club staff on the planet, in my opinion. I want to thank the council members and the Commodore, of course, all the Commodores and the council members and all the committees. My God, can you imagine the work? Rumor has it that the job is actually pretty tough anyway, but this year a little tougher. So we want to thank them. Thank you very much, the safety committee, everybody. Allie, Audrey, Cam, and Joe, thank you for your work on the junior program and led by Joe Vergonia from a volunteer perspective. Really great job getting that going. But most of all, we want to thank you sailors of all ages, because that's really cool that you came and showed up, because this is about junior sailors, but it's about all of us who are young at heart and love the sport. The junior sailors are the future of the sport, okay? And when they're writing the history of our club in 100 years, they're going to be thanking you for carrying on our traditions. This has been a crazy time in the middle of a health crisis hurricane, right? You are the ones who are carrying on our traditions. So we want to thank you, each and every one of you. Okay. So, all right, let's light this candle. If everyone would go off video now, that's great. Look, people are amazing. They're doing what they said they would do. This is incredible. We didn't know if they would do that, but that's really great. Thank you. Awesome. All right, so what I want to do is I want to welcome a big, warm BYC welcome to Dan Egan, who is right here. And for me, he's in my upper left. And Dan is an amazing person. He's a dear friend of mine for a long time. He's literally a Hall of Fame skier. And if you've seen a Warren Miller film, the chances are he was in it. But he's also a great Lightning sailor, a great J80 sailor. He loves the BYC, friend to many, sailed in a lot of BBRs. And I asked him to help me co-host and moderate tonight's show. And so thank you, Dan Egan. We appreciate that. All right, Dan, take yourself off mute. Say hello.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here. Excited, as always, to be part of the Beverly Yacht Club. How you doing?
All right. Thank you, Dan. Really appreciate it. Okay. So here's how it's going to go tonight. We're going to begin in a minute. I'm going to ask Dan to roll a 3-minute video that are going to help us introduce our guests of honor, Carmen and Emma Coles. We're so excited. Thank you, Carmen and Emma, for being here. And then Dan and I are just going to ask a few warm-up questions, right, to get things going, but we really want to hear from you. And we'll give you details more on how that goes. We've all done these Zoom calls, so we know sometimes it works well, and other times we have to figure out things. And if we can do it by people unmuting and asking the questions and coming on camera, that would be awesome. And if we can't, I have a couple of questions, backup questions from people who wrote in by email. And if not, we'll figure out a way to do it in chat. We're sailors. We can figure things out, even if it doesn't go right the first time, okay? That's how we're gonna go. We may have some secret celebrity sailor videos. We could, we may not, who have a message for junior sailors at the Beverly Yacht Club, and also messages for Carmen and Emma. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we'll just go back and forth. And we're gonna try to be done by 8, but if we're not, you can sue me. Okay, so that's how it's gonna work. All right, so Dan, everyone just maybe, they're not gonna shake their head because they're off video. Okay, Dan. So Dan, would you roll the video, please?
Emma Coles. We sail for Team USA in the International 420 Girls.
Carmen and Emma Coles started their sailing careers when they were 9 years old at the Larchmont Yacht Club. At their first regatta, after a long, hot day on the water, they hated it, but they continued sailing lessons in Opties. It wasn't until their third year sailing and their first regatta trophies that they became hooked. It didn't take long for Carmen and Emma to discover their love of competition, their thirst for learning, and how to enjoy just having fun on the water. The Coles twins love being on the water and being in their element. Moving up to the International 420, the Coles found sailing together a powerful and fast combination. The girls love sailing because of the freedom they find on the water. By 2017, the girls had already been successful in international competition. In late 2017, Karma and Emma really hit their stride, sailing to a gold medal in the Youth World Championships in Sanya, China. The girls finished a commanding 26 points ahead of the second place finishers. They recorded a first or second place finish in all but the first race. 2018 found Karma and Emma back in their dominating form. Against the best junior international 420 women in the world, the twins won 7 of 9 races. The 2 races where they didn't finish first were a disqualification for a pre-start penalty and a conservatively sailed final race.
Basically, it was just stick to our routine, get good speed, you know, check our line sides, check our numbers and everything, and mainly just keep a cool head. We had a little bit of a point separation, but having UFD really did not help with our stress levels. So just keeping our cool mind throughout the whole regatta, and especially through today, was key. Making sure that we weren't over and that would just take us completely out. So it's really just being 5 boat lengths back from the line instead of 3, and not worrying about being 15 seconds late. Just get off the line clean.
The girls have learned to control their emotions at these high-level regattas. For them, it's just another fun day on the water.
The biggest thing was making sure that we weren't too stressed out going into today with not, we had some point separation but not too much. So that, I think, we were both really proud of being able to just keep our level head and not worry about like too much of the points and just end up sailing our own race. So I think being able to keep a level head was what we were most proud of.
With an Olympic 470 campaign on the horizon, Carmen and Emma radiate a bright future for U.S. sailing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Carmen and Emma, welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. That's so, when you're looking back on it, does it seem like just such a straight line, like Larchmont, Optimist, 9 years old, and then Lysot, and then you get into an international 420 and you find yourself in China and Corpus Christi, and, or And I just want to say for some of the sailors that are out there who are still sailing an Opti, these young women were sailing Optis 5 years ago. Am I about right on that? I mean,
Yep,
sailing Optis 5 years ago. Does it seem like a straight line, or?
To be honest, it doesn't seem very long, like that we sailed Optis, but in some cases it really does. Just how much we've done in the 420, and then that's been a whole boat class in 5 years. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and to introduce us, so we have our signature red and black hats that we always wear, and so I'm Carmen, red hat, and I'm Emma, black hat. We helped you out with a little bit with the shirts.
Yeah, we love that. And I think you are correctly left to right, Carmen and Emma, if people scroll over the bottom if they forget, but it's taken me a little time, but I think we're getting it, right? We're not so slow learners. One question we have for you is, we're so blessed that you're here. And can you tell us a little bit about training with Stu and Dave, and how that, and almost everybody probably knows who Stu McNay is and Dave Hughes are, but we just want to make sure they know, everyone knows who we're talking about. Stu is going into, this will be his 4th Olympic campaign. Dave's been at 1 Olympics as a sailor and 1 Olympics as a coach. And we're grateful that they helped you find your way to Buzzards Bay. Tell us a little bit about training with them.
Yeah, so they're a veteran team, as you can probably see, and we're on the newer side. So they've been very helpful in basically taking us under their wing and helping us with training, as well as just being someone to train against, especially during this time when it's hard to have a sail against someone else, because we're all so scattered across the country.
Yep.
They're not currently launching out of Beverly Yacht Club, as you guys have probably seen from us being the welcoming committee every time you guys go to the sailing. But we meet up on the water, and we train, and then we break off and train together separately. But yeah, they've been really helpful.
Awesome. That's great. Dan.
What's it like for you guys to train with Dave and Stu? You know, are they, you know, are you sort of pointing with them? What are you trading off with them? And just tell us what the interaction is with that team and what you guys are working on.
So on the water, a lot of it is just when we're lining up, we're speed testing, and I'd say there's not so much conversation because you're focused on with your own coach. We each have a coach with us on the water. They have Thomas Barrows on the water with them, and we have Steve Keene, who's on the call. And so we're communicating with our own coach, and they're communicating with their coach, and yeah, just testing new things with respective coaches. But there's some like teasing back and forth. Yeah. Like the other day was our birthday, and we turned 20, and they were just teasing us about how us two together, we don't even beat Dave because he's past 40. So there's some interaction and teasing going on back and forth. So
that's all good and healthy. And you know, it's interesting, right? That everybody gets to sail with different crews and skippers over their career. You guys grew up together. I'm wondering what the communication is like on the boat between you two, and especially being twins.
Well, any sibling team can probably relate to this, but when you're sailing with your sibling, there's not much that gets stopped or refrained from saying, which is a good thing and a bad thing, right? So I think in some cases that's really helped us. Whenever there was something that was bothering us, we got it off our chests really quickly. That helped us move on from whatever we needed to, like whether it was a hiccup or a good thing, we were able to move on quickly from it. And so I think being twins, we knew so well the other person, and we've basically grown up through the whole sailing program together. So whenever there's like a moment that we're like, oh, remember then, she was there. So I think, yeah, that helped a lot. Yeah.
You got the references down now. Steve,
yeah.
Steve was mentioned. Steve's on the call. Steve, if you want to come on video for a moment. The twins told us the other night in the pre-call that you exhaust them, okay? So, and also Carmen and Emma, you've both been so gracious with our junior sailors. and you've made a mark with them already in terms of the way you interact. It's so natural and so generous in spirit. Also, Steve, I just want to let you know that the kid that you came up to the other day and said, "You like going slow?" That was one of ours, and he was so happy to get his pointers from you, and that was very kind for you to stop after a long day of coaching and continue to give to the junior sailor. So we really appreciate that. But what's it like coaching this team, Steve?
So obviously I've spent quite a lot of time with the girls because I coached them in the 420 as well. And I think one of the nice parts about it is because they've come up the ranks so quickly, they've been challenging me to make sure that I'm staying up with what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to help them through this process and help do my part for them to have their success. So they keep challenging me to be a better coach, and I learn probably as much from them as they get from me.
Wow.
Steve, I was wondering what's it like to sort of manage the big picture while teaching the skills and the day-to-day things they need to be focused on. How do you structure that with your athletes?
So within our core group, we all have different responsibilities. So Emma and Carmen's parents are really involved with the program. And between the girls, they really focus on the sailing side of the equation. And their dad, an element that he deals with, and then your mum has an element that he deals with. We will all talk and make sure that the girls run okay with all the process, but this is not an endeavor that you want to tackle by yourself. So having a large support team behind you is really important. And then for me personally, I actually have a team behind me again that I will call, and whether it's the sailmaker or a spar maker or other coaches that have been through this situation, just to bounce ideas off and make sure, is my thought process correct? So there's quite a large group behind these two girls to try and help set everyone up for success.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much, Steve. We really appreciate you being here, and thanks for your generosity to the BYC. We're really enjoying getting to know you as well as the girls. Carmen and Emma, you were talking about, you've said in another conversation about in your development how there was the importance of chasing someone that's ahead of you. That's a well-known thing. We always hear about it. Like, oh, if you want to play tennis at a higher level, play with someone that's better than you. Always be chasing someone who's faster on the race course. But then you said something interesting, that you also had the experience of being pushed by someone coming up from behind. And so I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that dynamic on a team and how important the team is.
Yeah, for sure. So when we started out in the Opti, it was the two of us pushing each other. And for us, it was always kind of an even pushing back at each other. And when you get to it, then you get a little bit better and you start improving, and you become more of the older generation, the older people of the group, and you have a little bit of success. You feel the tension or the stress of the younger kids pushing you and trying to beat you. And so that definitely, you can be on both sides. You're the young kid trying to push the older kids, but then you have the other side, which can be a very mentally challenging because you don't want to be beaten by the younger kids, but at the same time, we recognize that it's a really important part of it, because not only are they pushing you, but your whole level as a team is getting much, much stronger. So a lot of people don't like the whole training partners. I don't like beating up with this person. This is really stressful and I don't like it. But in the end, it's something that can really help improve your learning curves and make you get so much better, so much faster. And I think that was something that has really helped us just with our learning curves.
Yeah, I love that note. And I do think that, if somebody else, this is true of our racing on a Wednesday or Thursday night, or it's true in junior sailing program, the team is always going to be better if you got something. There are so many sailors on this call tonight who've always passed those hints down. Wiley Wakeman tells people where they should go or what happened on that, right shift. And so we get a little better, and guess what? That makes him better. And so I just love the fact that, you figured this out at a very young age, which we've found out that you guys have figured out a lot of things wise beyond your years.
I think just to add to that note too, so something as well when we are competing, it's probably more visible to see in the Opti since we're sailing as a separate team, like two individuals, but we still considered ourselves a bit as a team. So when we won, or when Emma won technically, I still felt it as a win to myself because I'm part of her team. And when the other person did not so well, then we both kind of had a little bit of a pit in our stomach. It might be a bit of a twin thing. Some people throw it up to that, but I still feel like that whole aspect of a team and realizing your wins and your losses and not being so focused on the individual of how I did, but how did my whole team. I think that as well was something that we've learned from training with others.
And we've got great coaches at the BYC, and I think they do the same thing, that everyone's cheering for everybody else and celebrating their wins and knowing that it's just going to help everybody on the team. And again, that's a great dynamic. Danny.
I'm so impressed with the Rolex award. What a monstrous achievement, and it must be extremely proud for you, your coach, and your family. Just wondering that moment when you sat there and you realized the names and the group you were joining. What was that experience like for you guys?
Well, I think the first part was when we got the call about the fact that we had won. It was more of oh my goodness. And then when you look back, you see, wow, there are so many accomplished sailors that have done so much since they've won or have done so much just in general that it's kind of a really nice feeling that you've joined this kind of list of elite group. But then again, it's something that I feel like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just something that you felt super proud and super happy to have accomplished. Yeah. But yeah, when we had gotten the call about that we had won, it was more of a stressful moment than anything because our little sister Margot had picked up the phone thinking it was just a random call and didn't realize that the caller ID had U.S. Sailing, and so she freaked out and hung up. And we were all mad at her. There was a little bit of yelling Margot, you can't do that. We were expecting a call, whatever. And then in the end, they called back, and it was just a lot of awkward speakerphone because the two of us. And then he said it, and we were just kind of trying patiently saying thank you, whatever. And then playing it cool. And then afterwards, when we hung up, it was a lot of just screaming between the three of us. Oh my God! Yeah, so.
Yeah, we're just
a lot of
emotions
emotions.
at home. So yeah.
Dan, you'd scream, right? If you won the Rolex, you'd scream too, right?
There are a lot of girly screams.
Yeah, it was a little high pitched in the house.
Screams, whatever screams. The Rolex is worth it. It's amazing. What was in Corpus Christi when you won one of the Youth Worlds? You had your mantra as "Trust the process." What did that mean?
So our ideology when we're going to regattas is, especially when it's a big regatta or a small regatta or any regatta, it's just another regatta. There's going to be a starting line. There's going to be an upwind. You're going to have very similar courses. And so for us, when you try to go to an event, some people get carried away with the whole fluff of the event, whether it's a world championship or whether it's a youth worlds, and you start to forget all your process. You're okay, I'm going to have my egg and ham sandwich for breakfast. I'm going to make sure I have my water on the water, and then I'm going to put my life jacket on, my penny. You have a whole system, but with all the fluff going on, you can get distracted by it. So something that's really helped us is basically trying to put the blinders on and make sure that, okay, we got everything down, and our parents have helped us create this quasi bubble for us to be able to focus in these events and really just make it like any other regatta. So I think that's basically been our mantra. It's just another regatta.
And at both of your world championships, you had some sort of You had some things to overcome. Tell us about that.
Okay, so our first Youth Worlds in China, we got disqualified in the first race. We got protested and lost the protest. So the first day we came out of the gates with a last place and a first place, so sitting basically dead in the middle of the fleet. I just remember walking out of the protest room and kind of saying to Steve, kind of slightly anxiously, like, I don't feel phased at all. And he's like, it's okay, just sleep on it. We'll talk about it in the morning. And I was more panicked about not feeling phased than just having lost the protest. And Emma was just, just trying to eat something. I don't know. She was in her own zone. Yeah, yeah, I don't know what she was doing. And then, so after that, we knew that we didn't have very much, like we couldn't give up anything else because we were sitting with a letter score. But like we said, we kind of said, okay, next day, it's a new day. Go through our checklist, eat our like egg and ham sandwich, check our line, check our settings, and then just go about the day. And I think that really helps keep the nerves calm. And something that's challenging as an athlete is making sure that the highs are not too high and the lows are not too low. So keeping that equilibrium, that steady emotional equilibrium throughout the event can be challenging, but I think that's what really helped us get through China. And then when it happened again in Texas, when we were over the third race, not the first day, it was the second day, the second time around, that really helped us. It was, I guess, a bit of a practice run in China, maybe, but we were able to basically do the same thing.
So
And, yeah.
just so you know, you don't have to do that in Portugal next March. Okay.
That's
so
not the plan.
it's not required. So just so everyone, most people know, but you are in a tight race with two other teams, two other great teams, and it will be decided in Portugal because of the circumstances of the health crisis. And I think early March of 2021. So that's what the training is all about. So what I thought, Dan Egan, what we do is take a couple of audience questions. And if we can, I'd love for people to come off a mute and show themselves on video. And if that doesn't work, we'll figure it out. Like I said, we're sailors. But the Tugas family had a couple of great questions. And then maybe the Crete family, if they're out there, finished their beautiful dinner on their hardscape patio. We'll go to them. Hi, Beck.
Hi. Can you see us here?
Yeah, we're here.
All right.
A couple questions for the team. Curious to know, because we saw you screaming through the outer harbor last week. What's the fastest you've ever gone on your 470?
So we carry sometimes an anemometer just to be able to see how speedometer with us. But Steve sometimes goes by with us so he can tell us how fast.
Right.
I think at 18. Was it 18? But that was like a really sketchy reach. 18 knots? Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. What was your question?
How was the transition from the 420 to the 470, and how did you make that transfer?
So for us, it was, we had just finished the Worlds in 2018 and in the 420, and we wanted to continue with a boat that would keep pushing us, and we wanted for another next step, another challenge, something, and we looked to the 470 just because it was a natural fit. It was definitely much more technical than the I-420 that we had sailed, but it was, we soon found, but it was something that similar setup, to jibs, spinnaker, mainsail, and similar specs. And so for that was kind of a natural step. We soon found how much more powerful the boat is and had to gain quite a bit of weight just to be able to sail competitively in the boat, as well as just how technical it is, just changing from the 420 to the 470. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Another question. How did you decide, since you were both accomplished sailors, how did you decide who was going to be crew and who was skipper?
Okay, so this is probably the most asked question because we're twins.
Right.
So when we started the 420, our parents were saying basically we're only supporting one boat, we're only buying one boat, so you're going to sail together. And we
Fair.
started out, we were relatively light to begin with. So Emma was 10 pounds heavier and about an inch taller. And so we're going to need the most leverage. So she was crew, and she's still like 10 pounds heavier and an inch taller.
It worked out. She
Yeah.
did not grow me.
So
But basically just wait.
do you ever switch it up in practice at all for just I mean, not just for fun, but does it help you at all to switch it up, or do you just stick to your roles?
So we do it if we're sailing in or something like that,
Right.
just, like, oh, I want to try these for a little bit or something. But I think once you kind of get it, find a lane, you stick with it to try to basically master it. I think that's what we found.
Yeah.
But it is very informing to when you switch to see like, oh yeah, this is what you have to do. Wow, okay, and appreciate it a bit more.
Cool. I have one more question, Dan, if that's okay.
Awesome. You're bringing a very strong game today. Thank you.
Thank you. So when did you two decide? I mean, was it something when you first started sailing Opties, like this is it, we're gonna go all the way with this, or was it something that just evolves? When did you decide to make your dream of like, let's try an Olympic campaign, let's do this? When did you make that a reality? Like, when did it become real?
Yeah, it very much evolved. We started in the Opti just because our parents wanted us to be comfortable in the water and learn how to sail. And we really didn't like the racing at much. Our first year when we did the racing, it was a long day on the water. We were used to the 3-hour practice sessions, and it just all of a sudden you had to wake up earlier and be there until 6:30, and that like, no, I don't want to do that. And so for us, we liked sailing, but we didn't like the racing as much, just because of the long day, to be honest. And then it soon escalated to I got a little prize in a little regatta, and so I was hooked, and then she got a prize and she was hooked. And so it really kind of it began from racing in the Opti. You get a little bit better, then you want to go to the next step, do some regional, then national, and then international. And then it was really just our parents guiding us through well, okay, where's the next step to push yourself? Once you get to the top of the fleet, it's fun to let's see where else you can go. And so, to be honest, for us, it wasn't really I'm 9 years old and looking for going to the Olympics. For me, the Olympics wasn't really in my head until just just over 2 years ago, when we transitioned from the 420 to the 470, and we're saying, well, an Olympic campaign is on the horizon. It could happen, it could not. It wasn't really more of I have this goal and I'm going to get to it. I mean, that was kind of our case, but it's definitely something different than other people's path. I'd say our progression was basically driven by learning. We liked the learning process, and that learning kept it fun, kept sailing fun. So basically throughout Opties, and then throughout 420s, and then now throughout 470s, the learning is what just kept perpetuating, and that's where we've come. Yeah, so here we are.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you've got a great team behind you, and supportive parents, and a great coach. So congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And it's not junior sailors. I want you to know that the parents are not are paying Carmen and Emma to say these things about loving learning and other things. This is just what's coming out. So it's amazing. So
there's no money involved.
all right, and we're going to be coming to the Cretes in a second, so just to let you know. But I think, Carmen and Emma, how about a shout out to your mom and dad?
Oh yes, shout out to mom and dad. They're over there in the corner listening to our conversation. Yeah. But, and by the way, they did not come from a sailing. Well, we didn't come from a sailing family. So my mom learned how to sail in the summers when she was little. But we basically just this kind of all fell into our lap as we started climbing up through the boats and stuff. So you really can do it, right? You can come from any background and do it. So
awesome. I love it. All right, Team Crete. I know we've got some fun questions coming here.
We're unmuted. Go ahead, Tapper Creek.
Tapper Creek.
Compared to other places that you've sailed, how do you think Buzzards Bay compares?
Great question.
Well, I would have to say it's probably one of the most reliable places in terms of conditions that we've sailed. We had great winds these past. We're in Marion for 4 weeks, and we had 2-3 days of light wind, and we were almost begging for them to check our light air settings and give our legs a break. But I think that's been really interesting, is how consistent it has been. You get breeze from every direction too. Yeah. So we've gotten some nice waves. We'll be able to practice a little bit of the downwind technique, as well as when it comes offshore and we're tacking up the channel, and oh my goodness, the ships. So we've been able to have a, sorry,
the Mayflower. You get to see the Mayflower. Was it today? Oh, really?
I don't know.
No,
we
we're
haven't seen it. We're currently home right now for a week of off of training, and we'll be back next week.
I think it went to Mass Maritime. It's going to New Bedford, and then back to Plymouth next weekend. So maybe you'll get to see it.
Oh, so maybe we'll see it on the water one day. Yeah, next week.
You can catch them because they don't do 17. Addie, did you want to ask your question? Because I love your question, Addie.
Go ahead, kid.
She had 2 questions.
Okay, got it.
Go ahead, Addie.
Well, the first question was that a couple of years ago, when Stu McNay and Jevy Stone, the Olympic rower, came to BYC, Addie beat Jevy in a donut eating contest, and she was wondering, as you guys are Olympiads, what are your donut eating skills?
Very poor. Yes, you definitely kill us.
What if it was a contest, though?
Oh, in terms of how much I can eat?
Competition,
how much?
How much we could eat? I could eat a lot of it, but I don't think I'd feel very well after. We eat a lot to keep our weight up and to keep our strength, but I don't think I'd feel very well after eating that many donuts.
And your other question? Do you remember what it was? Can you ask them?
Come on, kid.
Go ahead. Right, so I believe her other question was the transition from Optis to 420s.
Good question.
No? Oh, well, then you need to speak, because that's what I remember.
Did you guys ever sail Bix, or did you just do Optis and then 420s?
We had one day where our yacht club brought in Bix, and we sailed them, and it was really fun because they were you didn't have to bail when you flipped. But we didn't have Bix at our yacht club, and they weren't really much around when we transitioned, so it was never, we didn't really know much about them until afterwards, and now they're huge everywhere. Yeah, our yacht club has a lot now.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot of fun boats, and fun to have them at the BYC. Okay, so we talked about, teased a potential celebrity video. So I would like to just introduce that, and Dan Egan is going to help me. But we'll see how quickly, Carmen and Emma, you get this. This person is a 2-time All-American from ODU, 2-time U.S. match racing champion, an Etchells World Champion, 2014 Yachtswoman of the Year, and hopefully your teammate, your 2021 Olympian in the 49er FX.
Okay, yeah, we know who it is.
All right, well, this is a message to BYC juniors and you.
Hey, Beverly Yacht Club Junior Sailors, Steph Roble here. Just wanted to say hi to all of you guys and hope you guys are having a fun summer of sailing. I wanted to give a special shout out to Carmen and Emma as well. I know you guys are working really hard on and off the water, and you guys are doing amazing things. Keep the pedal down, keep having fun, and of course keep eating. I hope that when we're all back together, you guys can take me to Take It to the Max dance at Beverly Yacht Club. I hope you guys have some more awesome training coming up, and go Team USA.
Awesome. You have a lot of fans, Carmen and Emma. You should know that.
Yeah, It's been really cool. When we were in Opties and we were 9 or 10. 10. She stayed at our house for one of the regattas that our Larchmont Yacht Club is hosting. She stayed at our house and we just kind of met who she was. And then the next few years when we were going to the Opti Nationals, there was her name on the trophy. And then we just kept looking for her name on the trophy. And then now we're sailing with her. So it's been pretty cool just to see how she stayed at our house when we were, full circle moment right there. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And she was so excited to do it. Okay, well, the next celebrity video message for all of us, the two-time Olympian, 2008 Olympic gold medalist, World Sailor of the Year twice, and a 4-time Yachtswoman of the Year.
Anna Tunnicliffe, or Tobias.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. And she was taking time from her workout, so
yeah.
Always working out.
Hey Carmen, hey Emma. Hope you guys are having a great summer sailing, and I want to wish you the best of luck for this rest of the season training. Remember, it's the moments when you're out there by yourself, when no one's around, no one's seeing what you're doing, you're putting in the hard work, you're grinding it out, that's when the magic happens. And it's because of those moments that you get to reap the rewards down the road. So, always enjoy the journey, always have fun, and take it to the max.
So see all you junior sailors, the Take It to the Max dance is famous. We're going to get back to that next year. And just know that there's a lot of people who love Buzzards Bay, sailing on Buzzards Bay, all these famous sailors, and want to come to the Take It to the Max dance. Of course, we're going to invite Carmen and Emma back. They might be busy. Of course, you might be a little bit busy. We'll have to work out the schedule, but we'll have you right back the day after you come back from the Olympics with a gold medal. All right. So Galen, I think Galen Nurgent has a question, so let's go to Galen.
Hi.
Hi.
So my question was, did you ever get sick of Opties? Like, if you're in an Opti and you just get sick of the day and you just want to go in completely, or you just get sick of it totally altogether?
Because you're bored, tired, or anything?
Just like it just
done with the day.
Yes, basically, yes.
We've all had those moments where you're just like, I just want to go in and cuddle on my couch, and I don't know. I think, to be honest, there are definitely going to be days like that when anything you do, right? But I think what you can do in those days is say, okay, well, what's the one thing that I can take out of that day? And if you can make a step forward in whatever it is, it'll be the step forward in the right direction. And just taking those little pieces on those bad days can really help elevate your game. So if it's super windy and cold and rainy and just like, I want to go in and just cuddle on the couch, instead think of like, okay, well, I know in this windy condition I'm not very good at jibing because it's a little scary. Then you go and just make sure that that day, at least you know that I have worked on my jibes and I know that I'm going to be better at my jibes. And then that way you feel, okay, I've done something today, I feel accomplished. And then when you go home later, you feel accomplished and you're snuggling down in your couch. Yes. And I think sometimes some of those days when they feel a bit of a drag, when you've done a good jibe and then you finally realize, okay, I'm going to focus my jibe, and then you get a really good jibe, that day can totally switch around and be like an amazing day. So I'd say just don't give up on the day yet.
Nice.
But yes, we've had those days.
Okay, Kyle has a question. Kyle's going to be president of the United States, just so you girls know. You should be nice to Kyle. So Kyle has a question about the Plymouth Regatta tomorrow, which I believe is the Opti Regatta. We're very excited about it. Kyle Vergoni, what's your question?
My sister is doing the Plymouth Regatta tomorrow, and do you have any advice for her and for the other sailors?
Well, I'd say when you go to any regatta, remember what you were practicing and what you're trying to work on, right? So even if it's a regatta, you can still take it as a way to learn, right? So on your practices, if you're trying a little bit anxious at your starts, then focus on your starts and working on your starts. Even though it's counting or it's officially counted, then you can still learn a lot from regattas.
And also make sure that you have fun. Most important rule.
Wow, awesome question. Amazing. And remember
We'll
us,
look to
okay?
see him as president in a few years.
Probably, it's going to take him till he's about 35.
Okay, so we have time.
Okay, let's see. Plymouth Regatta, Galen, Bruce Nurchin, thank you. Where would we go if we wanted to support your campaign, Carmen Emma? Where would we go? Was there a website?
Yes, we have a website. It's thecolestwins.com. And there you can find basically everything, information about us, like a more in-depth story about where we come from, about our whole campaign process, as well as how to support us. And we've also put updates that we've sent out a newsletter that's also there that you can subscribe to, as well as other articles that have been written about us. So for fundraising at Oak Cliff, the foundation, they've provided us a 501c3 platform. And so we're able to get tax deductible donations through them. So thank you so much, Oak Cliff.
Yeah, great.
And so with the games being delayed a whole year, what's your view on that? And what's your approach now going into Portugal with the eye on the prize?
So it's definitely been a great opportunity for us because we are newer to the boat, so therefore we have a lot of opportunity to train and get better and better. But it's kind of a double-edged sword because it's more time, so therefore we have we need to more to fund, and so we need to just keep fundraising. So, and that's been a very big part of the Olympic campaign. So it's been great to just have more time to keep training and keep improving. But yes, the weight of the fundraising is definitely something that we have to work on.
And to Steve, Coach, with the looming pressure of a regatta that one boat goes. Talk about the process with the team on how you're going to manage that pressure for everybody.
So just like any other regatta, like the girls have been talking about, it's one race at a day, one start at a day. And I can't remember if it was Emma or Carmen came out with the mantra when, I think it was when we were in Japan. They just said, clean start and learn. And that was the whole process. And, going all the way up through the games, it would still be the same, just clean start and learn. And I believe that's one of the big strengths of both Emma and Carmen is the learning process that they're able to go through. And I think that's partly why they've been able to climb the mountains that they have so far. But for me, it's like the girls talk about, it's another regatta. There's a start, there's a couple of marks to go around, and we're trying to get around in the least amount of time. That's it.
Nice and simple. I like that. Clean starts, and that's a good way to think about it. What do you think about that, Mr. Dan Cooney?
I love it. I wish I could get clean starts. That would be amazing. So a little bit more basic question, Carmen Emma. There was a story that you told us about how you learned how to put in a rudder the right way for an opti, and then now you've been passing that along to our kids at the BYC. So tell us that story. It's fun.
So we had a coach in the opti. His name's Panic. Well, that was his nickname, Panic. And he was just someone who was always helpful with the young ones. And so we really liked how warm and approachable he was. And he would always focus on the little details of how to put in a rudder, how to tie your sail tie, how to make it. So in the end, it's actually much easier to do. And I just remember the day where you're launching your boat and your boat's in the water, but you haven't gotten your rudder in, and you're trying to put your rudder in, but the thing keeps going back and forth, and you're just struggling for a while. And so he showed me and a lot of other kids how you pull the rudder on the bottom part underneath the bottom pin and at where the tiller is, and you guide the two clips with your bottom hand and your top hand, and every single time it'll clip in. And so from then on, I was wow, this is ingenious. I didn't really realize about this. And so from then on, whenever we'd go to a yacht club where you saw a kid and you're like, oh, kid's struggling to put his rudder in, I got this, I can teach him this. And from then on, it was always, okay, I know how that I can show him. From now on, he's not going to be struggling with the rudder. Yeah, the panic method. Yeah.
Panic.
Counterintuitive. Panic.
Perfect
You're not
rudder.
panicking.
Yeah.
But
I love that. I love that. One of the things that I read in the Harkin piece that came out recently, I think it was called At the Front with you two, you talked about, okay, well, how do you divide up tasks? And you said, well, you know, if someone washes the boat and someone pushes, I think Carmen puts on the sticker, the bow stickers, right? That's it's a hard job. It's always left to, like, you know, somebody, oh yeah, you can do that with them. Then you're like, with a credit card and everything else, we're struggling. Anyway, Carmen, good job. And then Emma, you are cleaning off the boat, you're washing down the boat. So no one really loves that job most of the time, but good on you. But what it was really—
I do it because she doesn't like to do it. So therefore she's still on for the team.
But you said something really insightful about the other task. You said, you know, we both have the same high standards, and we know that the other person is going to do whatever is on the list to that high standard, because that's just the way we roll. And so it doesn't really matter what goes on our list. We can each of us can do it. And so where do those high standards, and if you're going to point to mom and dad, that would be cool. But where does that come from?
Well, one big thing is that we have high standards, but our standards are basically very similar. And I think it doesn't always happen with twins, but we've come from the same place and we have very similar personalities in that sense. So I think that has helped us to make sure that, like, you know, for me, I have things one way and Emma has things maybe slightly different, but I know that it's definitely there's an understanding between the two of us that it's going to be done, and it's going to be done at a level that we'll both be satisfied. Yeah. And we realize that whatever we do, it's for the benefit of both of us. So.
Right.
Putting on the stickers crooked is gonna make my OCD not go very well, and she knows that it's not gonna be good for us because we won't look very good with our crooked stickers. So an example. Yeah.
Maybe the RC has a little harder time seeing. Maybe. Well, who would do that? That's terrible. Terrible thing to say. I don't want to miss anybody in the chat. Bob Shorter, did you have a question? Bob, you want to come off mute? Never shy, Bob Shorter, if he's still on the call.
I did have a question, but I'm sorry, twins. This question is to your coach.
Awesome.
And Steve, I hate to put you on the spot, but knowing how quickly these young ladies came up through the ranks in the 420s and then 470s, how did you go about stepping up your game to keep up with them?
So I'm not sure who feeds who, whether it's the twins feed me or I feed the twins, but like them, I'm very hungry to do my job to the best of my ability, and I'm personally not really satisfied if I'm not doing everything I possibly can. So for me, if you go back a whole bunch of years, I put what I feel is a strong team around me from the very early days, before Emma and Carmen even probably thought about a 420. Of just sharing information and sharing knowledge and building up our databases so that we had better material to work from. And that's basically just followed all the way through. And there's a small group of us that work together and we push each other, and we're all from different parts of the world. But yeah, I'm a stickler for hard work, as the girls will tell you.
Yeah, exhausting them.
That's excellent.
He's the first one in the boat park and the last one to leave. Yeah. Well, a lot of times we do, but that's because we take a while. Steve was like, okay, guys, it's time to go. But
Nice.
yeah, hard worker.
All right, well, we're getting toward the time. I just want to make sure I don't cut off anybody. Is there anybody out there who'd like to come off mute or ask a question in the chat? Would love to hear from you. There's been some amazing questions. Steve.
I have one. So we all work together as a team. So I feel that it's my responsibility to take that donut eating contest.
Oh, nice, Addie. Steve's game.
I'll try it. I'll see how I go.
Now, again, she did take down Jevy Stone, who is a two-time, I think, Olympic rower. So
I'm sure there's a technique to eat more donuts. So
Yeah.
I'll figure.
Steve, there's also a speed part of it. So just so you know, I'm just trying to help you out if
Thanks,
you have
man.
to train. Is that the Commodore? Does the Commodore have a question?
Oh, I see a question.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Oh,
in the chat.
from Mrs. Cooney. Can Carmen and Emma talk about what they do training off the water, nutrition and strengthening?
All right. Great question, Mrs. Cooney.
Okay, so a big part of our training as well has been nutrition and training because of the physicality of the boat. We've both gained 20 pounds since starting the 470. I think it's what, a year and a half?
Yeah.
Well, since we've started weight training. And a big thing as well is making sure that you're replenishing the muscle that you've been burning and exhausting throughout the day. So something that we're really grateful is that our parents, mostly are my mom at this point, but they always have food for us right when we get off the water. So that way we can make sure that we're replenishing whatever we've burned throughout the day. So that's been super important to make sure that you're not losing too much energy and that you're ready for the next day. Yeah, there's been that sweet spot of within a half hour, 45 minutes that you've gotten off the water, you need to have some complex carbohydrates and protein. So we get little surprises of what's for dinner after sailing, and that's been really helpful just to maintain our energy levels. And then as for weight training, it's been a lot of lifting. We graduated high school last year in 2019, and so it's been when we were weight training with them, it was joining the football team to weight train, and all the scary guys in the corner, and we were just like, we'll be over here, doing our bench presses and squats. And then it's been also with a lot of the help from the U.S. sailing team with their trainers and helping us guide us through some workouts just to help for us more personally, just whether you have an issue with a shoulder or an ankle or something, just to make sure that we're always in tip-top shape.
Awesome. All right, if everyone would come back onto video. Galen, did you have another? Yeah, awesome. Because it was Carmen and Emma's idea to get a group shot. So thank you, Carmen and Emma, for producing tonight's Zoom call as well. All right, Galen.
There we go. Wait, you have to unmute yourself. Everyone got on mute except for us.
How did you know, what time did you know how did you know when to go from Opties to 420s? Like, what point did you think, oh, we should get together, do 420s, and yeah.
So
yeah.
How old are you right now?
I'm 12.
So that's a very good question. For us, we basically said, well, we're gonna stay in the boat. We stayed in the boat until we were 15, and it was like September, October when we were 15. So at this point right now, that's quite a long time for people to stay in the Opties. Some leave quite a lot earlier. We were still really good in size and weight wise for the boat, and we saw it as, okay, well, we're going to learn as much as we can in the Opti, and then when we get to the 420, that we can be able to translate a lot of that. I'd say some part in staying longer was because that last year and a half, we started doing quite well in the Opti. And so to leave the Opti just when we were starting to do well, we thought that we would not gain the insight as well as learn how to sail from a different side of the fleet, like sailing from the front, entering a regatta knowing that you can do well or that you have a possibility of doing well, and overcoming all those anxieties and stresses of potentially having the abilities to be able to do well. And so that was one part that got in, that was why we stayed. I think for a lot of people were telling us that we were staying a little too late, and all those different opinions on when you should leave and when you should stay or keep going. And I think a big part of it is just let it be more of a personal preference. Are you having fun? Are you learning? And do you think it's the right step for you? Do you really like the sailing? Some people stay because they really want to stay with their friends in the Opti, and some people want to go because they really don't find it fun anymore. They're too big and they can't duck under the boom as well, and they just don't find it fun to go slow in the light air or whatever. And so I feel it for advice for you, or whenever you want to go, I think make it more of a decision on, well, what will make you happy? And what for us also is like, what will make you a better sailor? Would it be staying and learning in the Opti, or going into into 420 and learning there? Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
I think you're.
Okay, there you go. Well, coming to that time, on behalf of Commodore Shakoi, Commodore Pierce, and any Commodores that are out there, we want to thank everybody who came, all the sailors of all ages today, especially thank you, the junior sailors. Thank you, Carmen and Emma and Steve. You've been so gracious, not only tonight, but to all our kids since you've been here. You're going to be here for another month. We just love having you. The BYC is about sailing and racing and good fellowship, and you bring all of that in huge amounts to our yacht club. And we all crave a little normalcy right now, and I think that's normal. But maybe we didn't get this serendipitous opportunity to meet you if things had been more normal. So we have to keep finding the silver linings. Dan Egan, you're amazing. Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. Appreciate you, my friend. And thanks to each and every one of you, junior sailors and sailors who are young at heart of all ages from the BYC. Have a great evening.
Thank you. Let's make sure we get everyone. So if everyone could smile at the camera, we want to do like a group photo. Everybody, can everybody virtual group photo? Yes. Can everyone turn on their cameras? Let's tech savvy over here. Yeah. Everybody ready? Smile.
Ready.
It worked. Oh, but it's not working. Wait, we need our dad technical difficulties. So your elbow's gonna be in it.
Okay, hold on.
But
patience. We didn't plan this in advance.
What are you doing?
Yay!
We got it. Okay,
nice.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Carmen and Emma, Steve, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, BYC.
Thank you.
Good luck tomorrow at Plymouth. Let's go get them.
Yeah, go get them.
Dan and Dan.
All right.
Emma.
Nice job.
Thanks, Beverly Yacht Club.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Carmen and Emma. That was delightful. Steve,
Thank you.
appreciate you being here.
Thank you for organizing.
That was so great.
Anytime, it was lots of fun, mate.